Hey y'all, I'm Lydia and welcome back to the channel. So for today's video, it's going to be a bit of a different one. So we're going to jump straight into it because it is going to be a long one. Alright, so today we are building some compost bins. So as you can see, or if you couldn't tell from the last video, I've recently moved. And I'm really trying to get my new house into a homestead or like a mini homesteader. So the first thing I really wanted to get built at the house was compost bins, just because I know I want to have a garden and I do have some plants already. And having my own compost is going to be great and healthy for my plants. So as you can see, we're just going to start cutting. And the first few minutes, guys, all I'm going to be doing is cutting my wood. I like to get everything cut in the beginning. And all I needed was a couple of 4x1s and 2x2s just for this whole entire product, well, this whole project to be built. Okay, so I'm going to end up getting everything cut. For the raw material and cut list, guys, I will leave a link for it down below in the description box. I actually got this plans off of Etsy. I get a lot of the plans that I'm going to be building on the channel pretty soon off of Etsy, so I will be leaving all of the shops and everything down below on where you can get the plans. It cost about $3, so it wasn't expensive at all. And the material costs and everything to make this compost bin as well didn't run me no more than, I want to say, $50 from getting everything at Lowe's. Most of the stuff I did have at hand. Again, all I had to do was buy the wood, but everything else I did have in my garage since I do like to build. So yeah, we're just gonna start off with cutting all the wood and getting that in, and I don't want to talk through the whole thing, so we'll play some music in between, and as we get up close, I'll tell you what the different parts are and what we're doing. First half done. All right, guys. So it was a really, really hot day today. I don't know why I decided to build these compost bins on this type of day, but I did. So I got the first half of wood cut. Those were all of my 2x2s, and those are going to be the inserts and what's going to be holding my 4x1s together. So when you do see it in the picture below, or when you finish see the final project as we build, you'll see where they go. Right now I'm just cutting my 4x1s. And I don't have many of those. Well, those are like the most boards I have. I have about 18 of those boards. But those are the most simple cuts. Everything is pretty much the same size. Well, the same two sizes, which is wonderful. So I'm going to fly by this cutting pretty easy. But just to let you know, composting, guys, is a great way to reduce the amount of waste that ends up in our landfills, and it creates a natural fertilizer for your garden. And I feel like this is a really good way that people should get back to it. I actually opened up my compost bin to a couple of my neighbors. So sometimes they come over and drop their garden scraps, because my neighbor has a beautiful garden this past summer, and I can't wait to see what she does next summer. But we both use it now, which I love, and I love meeting new people. So making new friends in the neighborhood is like very, very important to me. And I love that just me being outside and building projects, even though I have to keep stopping filming, you know. I got to meet a lot of great people in the neighborhood. But just make sure, as you can see, guys, once I get my wood into piles, I actually start writing a number on it. And that's just to help me to remember what size is what and what pieces are going where. Again, I'm cutting the 4x1s. I have three main cuts or two main cuts for it. I'm not exactly sure. But again, I'll leave the description, well, the cut list, the raw material list, and the link and everything to where to get this from in Etsy down below in the description again. So just make sure you check that out.
Why do I try? Why do I try? Why don't you tell me why I can't sleep at night? Why do I try? Why do I try? Why don't you tell me why I can't sleep at night? Why do I try? Why do I try? Why don't you tell me why I can't sleep at night? Why do I try? Why do I try? Why don't you tell me why I can't sleep at night? Why do I try? Why do I try? Why don't you tell me why I can't sleep at night?
Throw this out there at well, guys. Just make sure that you're always measuring twice before you cut. I did make that error before. So I just want to make sure again, measure twice before you cut. And you can see a couple times I really line up my saw before I actually start cutting the wood just to make sure I'm cutting where I need to be. Everything is squared away. And please wear those safety goggles. You won't even understand how much they saved my life because I'm very forgetful, and for some reason I feel like I'm so bad I don't need them sometimes. So make sure you wear your safety goggles, and definitely, definitely, please measure twice and cut once. You can always cut more, but you can't put more wood back on. And you're actually going to see, guys, I end up recutting a couple of these boards, like that whole stack that was just sitting there. Just because, again, thank you. I miscut it by, over measuring, and I didn't under measure. And the wood behind me, guys, that's for another project that will be coming out as well. I wanted to make a bookshelf for my living room area because we have DVDs and books on just pretty much sitting everywhere. So that video will be coming out soon as well. But I just wanted to let you know, make sure you double check your wood, your measurements, wear your safety goggles, and we'll be dealing with that extra wood later. This is everything that we'll be using and cutting today.
Okay, so that is everything on our cut list for our compost bin. So all of our scraps is cut out, laid out, and now we're going to bring it to the side of the house and start the assembly. It's too hot for this, but we're gonna do it. I got 3 hours before I can get my baby from daycare, so we gotta do it.
All right, guys, so now it is down to assembly, which should be the easy part as long as you pay attention to them directions, because any little distractions and you might make the same mistake that I make. And you'll see that later down the video where I end up taking out a whole side. So this is one of the sides for the compost bin that we're making. And I'm actually going to move to the floor and show you.
Take your time and arch your back. No, get ready for start the tick-tock. Listen for me countdown before you tick-tock. Yeah. Oh, bend over like something. Yeah. Oh, boy, watch the tick-tock. Watch the clock. Oh, yeah. Hard if you can't tell time ticking like a clock. Oh, hey. Watch me fat girl, skinny girl, coffee them.
That table's not big enough, so we gotta move.
Okay, guys, so the rest of my assembly process for these compost bins actually take place right here on the floor of my driveway. All right, so one day I will get the wood shop of my dreams in my garage, but until then, I will be building things out in the sun in the driveway like I guess I'm supposed to. Anyway, so after hubby came and checked my work, like he has to inspect some things and check it out, we actually moved to the floor. These are the two side bays of my compost bin. So I'm going to be building two sides. They're going to look the exact same. And I made little spacers. I do put these spacers in between, as you can see shown, and I screw these boards in, and I'm actually screwing the 4x1s into the 2x2s, and I make sure that I use decking screws just because I felt like it would be a little bit more sturdier and it holds up to the outside weather and the erosion. Now, when it comes to the wood choice, guys, I did not use pressure treated wood. I just used regular old wood, whatever was cheapest at my local Lowe's, because that's where I got it from, because they do deliver and I don't have a truck. So that's where I ended up going. So like I said, I just used regular old wood. I know that there is the risk of it corroding and breaking down in a couple years. I'm not too worried about that. As you can see, they are spaced apart. They have that nice 1.5 inch gap in between. And later down the line, and I didn't do it in this video, but I might actually add on a second video too on where I do it. I'm actually going to line the inside because I'm finding that I'm having more issues holding the heat in with all of those air gaps, especially now that it's getting colder in my area. So I just wanted to throw that out there that I will be lining these compost bins. So before you use yours, if you do decide to make these, just make sure you line them, or you make sure you use like the right wood, cedar or pressure treated wood. So now that I have one side built, I am going to do the exact same thing and build the second side. So if you don't know, now you know. So this is the part where I said I was not paying attention. Maybe it was the dance break in between, but I was not. So I had to get my hubby to come over and help me take out the screws on that one panel of the compost bin so I can respace them the correct way while I do it on this one. And then what we did realize, which was dumb as well, is we only had one drill bit, so I ended up having to wait for him to finish, which was fine. It gave me a great break and a breather in between, but it did slow down production, I want to say, for that day. So as you can see with this compost bin, well, with this side of the compost bin that I'm drilling right now, I have my spacers in between, but I actually have two spacers underneath. And that's going to make sure that they're actually 1/2 inch off of each side and not directly flush to the 2x2s. And that was the mistake that I made with the first side of the compost bin. So I'm going to finish this side of the compost bin, and then I am going to repeat again with my spacers on the first one that I originally did, since it was done incorrectly.
Up. I got the drill bit broke.
Bro,
It broke. It broke off right here.
I'm using so much pressure.
I hate that drill. So weak. That was funny. Well, now I gotta get it out.
So as you can see, guys, there were plenty of mistakes being made during this compost bin build. Like I said, I have not built in a while. This is the first time I have actually built something in years. My godfather actually got me into building when I was a child. I built my very first toy chest with him when I was, I think, 8, and I can remember smoking, well, not smoking, but like sanding out the whole garage. I did not realize doors was supposed to be open, but I was going crazy and having fun. Okay, and this just brought me back to those days when I used to just be able to take my time and build things and just be able to be me and use my hands and do different things. So, guys, if it's not perfect, it's totally fine. Just remember, it's something that you built and you're going to cherish it for the rest of your life and for the rest of its life because it's something that you put your hard work, time, and dedication in. So, that's why I don't delete my mistakes. I'm not gonna lie. I talk to my girl all the time who edits. That's my love. And I tell her, like, leave the mistakes in there because I want you to realize, like, there's gonna be mistakes. Nothing you do in life is gonna be perfect. But just know that you can always fix it and just keep moving on from it. So now we're finishing up this panel right here. I'm sorry, we're actually building the middle panel that's going to be in between the two compost bins, and that's going to be our divider. So that's going to be built a little bit different, and it'll have a little end to it. So I'm actually going to show you here how I start assembly and putting on the long back pieces to connect the two side parts. Okay, so I'm just trying to keep it level as I can to the floor. You'll actually see in a minute I start switching it around and I flip it over to drill going downwards instead of trying to drill sideways into it, just because one, it made it a little easier, and two, my garage, I want to say, what is it, sidewalk, concrete, whatever it is, my driveway, y'all. My driveway is so horribly on a hill slanted. So it was easier for me to do it that way to know that everything was level and easier. So you'll see me switch it to the side in a second and I'll start drilling down instead of sideways in. So here is where I say I had to get help and flipping it over. And as soon as I get this bottom piece in on the second side of the double baked compost bins, hubby's job will be done thus far, and I can just drill the rest of the back pieces in quick and easy. Now, guys, as you were able to see, some of my wood did come a little warped and misshapen. I was able to just squeeze it into place. Right now, I am pre-drilling my holes. I did pre-drill my holes for every single hole and nail I put in just to ensure there would be no splitting and cracking in my wood, guys. So just make sure that you take the time and do that. And laying all of the boards on across at the same time made it very easy to just speed right through, screwing everything in on one side at once and then being able to go to the next side and do the same. So just make sure you find your little tips and tricks that help you save time, like I've been trying to find as I go through with this project. So this is me just going through, and again, just make sure you pre-drill your holes. I did that for even my side bays. So I pre-drilled all my holes before I screwed my screws in. And again, you just want to make sure that there's no cracking or splitting in your wood, because that's really what it's there to help with. So as we are screwing in the back, guys, again, I am using my heavy duty decking screws for this. I am going as far down in the wood. Now, I'm not going to lie, I did get some cracks and splits in my wood, but again, we're brushing it off. This is the first project that I've done in, I want to say, about 4 or 5 years of building. So I think for the first project in a while, I did pretty good, even though there was a little few hiccups. We were able to save them. So just like I said, make sure you keep going. This is a fast and easy process to just get it all screwed in.
Woo, it's hot. Okay, guys, so I'll try to get in the sun so you can see me. I'm not so dark. I know I wasn't talking in the camera much this video. It was mainly like a voiceover, but this is where we're at right now on the compost bin that we're making. I do have to add the insert, which is right here. Okay, so I'm going to attach the inserts onto our compost bin. And again, guys, I'm gonna link where I got the directions, the cuts, all of that, because I got it off of Etsy. And you can go purchase it over there because I'm not sharing anybody's plans with them. I pay for it, you pay for it. Anyway, I'm going to show you how I attach the back, and it's going to be pretty much like the sides. I'm just going to insert that back piece like right here and then screw it straight in. And I'll show you up close on that, and then we'll run through the whole thing real quick. Anyway, let's finish up. Woo! I'm stepping on my bookshelf. That's another video coming soon too. If it doesn't come out before this one, we're gonna see.
All right, guys, so that is my insert piece that I had built. What I'm actually going to do is screw in the bottom piece first, just because I did realize that screwing in that bottom front panel is going to help that insert that divides the two bins stand up straight, and I can screw it in directly to the front and the back and keep it leveled. The only thing I admit that took me the longest, the absolute longest, is making sure that the metal, not the metal, the wooden insert divider was actually centered. So you can see I actually took my time making sure it was completely in the middle, because I wanted to make sure that the slats that slide in the front actually fit perfectly, because they're supposed to be the same size and fit on either side. So again, making sure it was completely centered did take me the longest, but once I got that in, screwing the rest into the back was a breeze, as well as screwing in those two bottom panels. And now that is the first bottom panel that went in, and I'm just going to use a spacer, as you can see, to screw in that second long bottom panel. And that is going to be the only two panels for that will be screwed in. The other ones will be able to slide straight in through the slats.
Hey guys, so it is the next morning and my camera died yesterday. I'm so sorry. So I didn't get to finish filming how, let me not step in an ant pile, how I completed my compost bins, but I can show you what they look like currently and what we're looking like. So these are them. So these are my bins. And then these front slates, they slide in and out for easy access, which is great. So those are my compost bins, guys. Right now I'm going to show you how I fill them. So I've been watching a lot of videos on how to fill compost bins the right way. I'm thinking on if I actually want to put like one of those starters or worm castings in it. So while I think about that, because I'm not sure, I'm just going to bring you along and show you how I actually fill my compost bit. Well, fill my compost bits. All right. So we've been doing some yard work since we moved in. And I have a whole pile of hay scraps here and by the baby's toys. But then on the other side of the yard, we've been cutting down some trees. Whew, we're going in the shade. I'm sorry, guys. My neighbor's dogs. I'm so sorry. But if you can see, we kind of got this tree over here cut down. There was a tree right here. It wasn't that big. It was like a 4-foot tree. But if you can see, like, the grass outline, it came way far out, you know, and it was just taking up too much yard space. So we got that cut down, and that's over here in a pile as well. So I have my gardening stuff over there. I'm actually going to break down a lot of it and just show you how I fill my bins. If you want to see how we want to like finish our yard, or if you want to see a video on that, let me know. I have a lot of plants for the yard because I do want to have a garden. So this house and buying a house is like a very big step, and I'm so excited. Anyway, let's get to the filling. Okay guys, so one thing I just realized is I have a compost bin on the back property from the old owners. So I'm gonna bring that over here, which is great. It's not as big, well kind of, it's about the same size. It's a black plastic one. So I'm gonna use that, and I'll have 3 compost bins. I'm trying to think if I'm gonna actually fill them all now. I have a lot of scraps. I still think I'm just gonna do the 2 for now, and then I'll keep 1 for a rotation. That's what I think I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna bring that over, and then we'll fill all 3.
Alright guys, so finding this compost bin was a blessing. It was. I love it so much. Not gonna lie, in the time that I'm filming this voiceover, I've been using my compost bins for about a month now, and it is starting to get cooler outside, and this black compost bin heats up so much better and at least keeps the compost at the right temperature, better than my wooden ones. So again, that goes back to what I said earlier about me changing up my wooden ones and adding a tarp. But this video, guys, was so undermined. It took me literally 30 minutes to get that black bin from stuck between those vines and plants back there. So right now I'm just filling it. I won't go into too much detail about how I fill it or how I maintain my compost, just because again I am a newbie and a beginner at this. Now, during the research and stuff that I did see, and I've watched a lot of videos on it as well, I was informed that you should do a 50-50 mixture. So, like 50% browns and 50% greens. And then I was told in the beginning stages of starting your compost, just to make sure you heavily wet it down in between. You don't want to drench it, but just make sure it's wet enough to start steaming, I guess, and start heating up right and getting those healthy bacterias and stuff going. So as you can see, when I do layer my browns and my greens, I do end up using my hose and just watering down each layer. Now later on, guys, and again, I can show you an updated video on this as well on my channel if you'd like, but I did end up getting one of those compost accelerator boost off of Amazon. I can link the exact one down below that I got. Oh, lovey-dovey time. Anyway, I can link the exact one down below that I got in the description as well. But I used one of those compost accelerators, and instead of using all three bins, I got two bins full. So two compost bins, and that's one black and one brown I end up using. And I'm gonna have the other brown bin that's closest to the chain link fence. I'm gonna use that one as my turnover as time goes. So when my compost starts getting broken down like it should be really well, I'll start moving it down into that empty bin. So I did change some things up a bit. Like I said, if you want to see a video on what I did and how I did it and how I updated my compost bin from where it is previously to where it is currently, just make sure you leave me a comment down below and I'll definitely give you an updated video on that as well. If you like this video, please make sure you hit that thumbs up button as well, guys, for more content like this. So as you can see, I am adding some leftover rotten veggies that I've had. So I had tomatoes from doing some canning projects. I had eggshell scraps. I had
All right,
onion
so
peels, stuff like that.
my camera did cut off, so let me just tell you guys, I'm gonna stop here with my compost bins. That's what I was saying. I'm just gonna spray off my top layers, okay, so I can keep it moist. And then now the bins that I built myself do not have a cover, so those are gonna stay open. The black one has a cover, so I am gonna close that one as well. And then I'm gonna show you guys what's behind me and what the rest of the yard looks like so far and where I got a lot of my greens from. So let's just spray this down. I'm gonna show you the yard. Give me one sec. Alright guys, so just to show you what the rest of the yard looks like, this is what our pile of hay that we started with has went down to. So it's shrunken a lot. I'm just gonna rake all of that up and put it in a pile. So as I continue to grow my compost, I can add more browns and then walk into the dark side. Over here is where I got some of my greens. I realized that a lot of these trees we cut down yesterday, the leaves actually turned brown very, very quick. So I wasn't able to use all of them. If you notice though, over here it was really bushy, and now you can see we actually have a little white fence over there. So I actually cut down a lot of branches and used the greens that's actually on this leaf, on the trees. I'm sorry. That's on the trees, just because I knew we were gonna shave these back a little. We're not cutting these trees down, but if you can see how far they come out, that's like a good 5-6 feet of the yard that was being taken up just by branches. So we're just gonna shave it down a little bit, but we are not cutting these trees down. So that was the video, guys. I built my compost bins. They are completely done. We found a bonus bin that was left from the last neighbors. So now I have 3 bins that I can rotate with. I don't have a garden just yet. That's why I started composting in all 3 bins. So by the time my garden does come, we'll be ready and we have plenty of compost. I am sweating. Anyway, that was the video, guys. If you did enjoy the video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Until then, I'll see you next time. Bye.